the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Yo, Joe. Yo, Joe. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Driving Speakerbox. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
And I'm Jake the Grip.
And we're back. We're back in the studio. It is Monday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on, what is this, July 26th, 2021?
Is it already?
In the year,
no way.
In the year of our Lord. January, July, June, August, September, whatever day it is for you when you're listening to this podcast.
Oh,
if
just
you're
hitting those real Roman months right there.
All of them.
Yeah.
They're the good ones. But if you're subscribing online, downloading this on a podcast, hey, off of Spotify or wherever you get it, hey, we thanks to you quite a bit. We're just gonna talk in like weird video game Solid Snake speak, I guess, for the rest of the show because my brain is farting.
I hope not. I hope like in Metal Gear Solid 2 where the general glitches and goes all weird and you're having to run around as naked Raiden and it's just the worst part of any video game.
Yeah, and we suffer like a G did.
Oh, no.
But anyway, welcome. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about with you guys tonight. We saw some movies. We're going to be talking about Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. We're going to be talking about M. Night Shyamalan's Old. And we're going to be talking about Masters of the Universe, He-Man, Revelations.
Yeah,
we both saw that and have not talked about it with each other yet. So we're saving that for you. We're gonna unleash that box of nostalgic two white guys talking about old cartoons as if the internet doesn't have enough of those fat losers. Will be two more of them. I know.
Wait, we're fat losers now?
Well, I mean, we're probably by the BMI chart. We're certified. I'd say we're probably obese, right? I mean, I don't have a six pack.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm not corpulent or anything for those of you at home that don't see me on the regular, but you know, I could use some sit-ups probably.
Sure. I just wouldn't think that we're fat losers.
Well, I mean, I'm just, you know, it's the whole thing that we talked about on Fast and the Furious. If you acknowledge the joke, then you can't.
We say it before you
can.
that it's not a joke on us.
Exactly.
Okay, I see. Yeah, the F9.
That's what we're doing.
Fast Saga.
That's what we're doing. Well, anyway, coming in a lot of comments already tonight. Thanks. We got Drew coming in over YouTube. What's up, Drew? Vince, as always, over on Twitch. McLean, yo-ho-ing us over on YouTube. What's going on? Vindrasi878. We are both doing well. Thank you for asking.
Not so bad.
Dina says, hey, we ain't losers. And thank you, Dina, because we ain't losers on this show. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. All right. Well, let's get in. We got to start with the news.
There's a little bit of news, a little bit of non-Olympic news.
Yeah, get in there. You start. You got a piece of paper.
Me start. Oh,
you got
man.
a piece of paper.
Well, I got something. Did you see that? It happened a couple years ago, but it's all going to court and settlements and things like this. In the UK, one of their theaters, View Theaters, a man was killed after he got his head trapped under one of the motorized seats, one of their fancy seats like we have in our theaters here. He was looking.
What was this? Was he like looking for his keys?
He was
or
looking
something?
for his keys, and he was a father of one. The seat lowered on his neck, trapped him under it, and they resuscitated him there somewhat, got him to the hospital. He died. Right. Very sad news. And they've since been fined like £750,000. And they've done safety testings. They found that 8 chairs in that one theater could not be lifted by hand. So
8 That's
yeah,
a lot.
eight
Those
of
are heavy.
the chairs.
They got
Yeah,
motors
yeah.
and engines.
They do. Unfortunately, the chairs here aren't so heavy, and they can be moved. I've lifted them to find.
There wasn't
something.
like a mom there that got all the adrenaline and like lifted a
No,
car.
I guess he was in the theater by himself looking for his keys after the movie. But the point of this is be careful in the theater. Things like that
you can get
happen.
eaten by a chair.
Yeah, always find someone to help you maybe. But that's tragic news that is making changes and waves in British theaters currently. Now that people are going back to the movies, I don't know.
Back to the movies.
Yeah,
Although
I don't know what the UK policy on their theaters is currently.
this weekend,
but-
studios were a little bit upset because they thought that everybody was going back to the movies because everybody spent money on Fast and Furious and stuff. But this weekend was relatively light at the box. They were like, "Oh, dude, we've got all the money. We got G.I. Joe coming and shaking wallets. We got Shyamalan coming and shaking wallets." And then, I mean, it was a decent weekend. But they're like, "Whoa, this just spells disaster for Hollywood. We're not making billions of dollars instantly."
So a director whose last movie people were very upset and disappointed with, despite one good one before that and a whole mess of disappointments before. So a guy with a track record of more disappointments than successes, and they were riding on that. And then a franchise that had 2 movies in it so far, and no one liked either one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't
hey,
know why they would stake claims on these
just
would keep the theaters alive.
Give it a second.
Well, that's
you know?
true too.
I mean, the studios, like I think they got so greedy with power with all these quick bet investment movies that it's like it's gonna take a second for people to kind of return and get used to coming and seeing your movies because you've been putting out a bunch of shit and we're skeptical and you've made it so easy for them to watch it at home now. You kind of made your own bed. So.
Well, and that's why when you go to movies like Fast and Furious or G.I. Joe, they have little messages in front of the movie that says, "Hey, thanks for watching it in the theater instead of being a dick and watching it at home."
Yeah, and
so we
pirating
have
it.
Henry Golding, and he's there like, "Hey guys, thanks for coming to watch this movie."
Really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan at the beginning of Old was like, "Hey, you know what? I've been making movies for a long time now in theaters, and I love theaters, and I'm so glad that you're in a theater watching this movie that I made specifically to be viewed in theaters."
Yeah,
Preach.
that's what the Snake Eyes said too. They're like, "Oh, you got to get the full experience of the explosions and the action and the punches."
And I mean, honestly, they're not wrong because there wasn't much left in that movie except for stuff that was big for the big screen. But we're gonna be talking about that later.
Talking about things made for the small screen, though, from the big screen to the small screen and back and forth, poop back and forth forever. It was announced today in the news. It might have been announced at Comic-Con at home a little earlier, but today is when they published an article about it that I read. Pokemon live-action Netflix series in early development, brought to you by the showrunner and executive producer of Lucifer.
That doesn't really sell it for me because I like the first couple of seasons of Lucifer. Now I shut up. That's okay. Guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
But it has not been good in a while. And Pokemon live action, I'm not here for that.
No, I don't know that
many.
many people are, but it's there, it's happening, it's a thing. But talking about anime, one thing that was brought out at Comic-Con at home, they had a Dragon Ball panel, and they announced that next
read about
year
this.
there is a new movie coming out, Dragon Ball Superhero, and they've introduced new 2D animation, 3D model techniques, so ways that they can move around models in a 2D animation where it doesn't look like they're a CG creation, but stick with a 2D look. It actually looked pretty good in their one little Goku preview, but that's an exciting thing for big fans of Dragon Ball or
DBZ.
anime or things like that. So.
Over on Facebook, Stadium Man says, I haven't worn pants since January. I'm not going to start now just to go see a movie. Well, wear shorts.
Hey,
or a
there's-
skirt. You can-
wear lounge pants, man. There are not many people who go to the theater in real pants
Yeah,
anymore.
you don't have to dress up like you're going to church, man. Like,
No,
I see people in straight up pajamas, and I've seen people going with like a blankie and slippers.
You've
and
been those people.
I don't wear blankies, and I mean, I've taken blankies, but I don't wear like slippers and
No.
sweatpants.
You do wear sweatpants, guy. I've seen you.
Not to the movie because they don't have pockets. I wear sweatpants all the time at home.
All right.
Who else? You must be thinking of somebody else. Who you cheating on me?
Who else
going
am
to
I
the
watching
movies?
movies with?
Yeah, come on,
Yeah.
man. But Vince's jorts in honor of Kevin Smith.
We'll talk about Kevin Smith here in just a little bit.
Stadium Man says Vice is going to launch a gritty reboot of Digimon. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Digimon,
I don't know about
Digital
that.
Monsters.
But also in small screen development, I don't know if you guys, for you out there that are Shudder subscribers, I'm a Shudder subscriber. Really enjoying, of course, Joe Bob Briggs' Last Drive-In and the Creep Show reboot. But now they have signed on David Cronenberg, Mr. Body Horror himself, to lead a new horror series like Flesh and Blood. It's like slasher, Flesh and Blood. So if you guys like Cronenberg, I mean, there's a point where, some of these horror masters get to a point where I start taking them with a grain of salt because, not everybody's amazing forever. And that's the problem with like a lot of bands. Even they got this one amazing album and everyone's like, well, you got to do it again. All your music has to be just as fire as this one song that I've loved since I was in high school, and they just can't recapture it. I think John Carpenter had a difficult time for that for a while. Joe Dante had a difficult time for that.
John Carpenter's music is
John Carpenter's
always on point.
But and Wes Craven had and they're not all fire. I mean, they've got some really good stuff. But
I'm just saying, talking music right into John Carpenter, I'm like, hey, that dude is sick on the keys.
Did I tell you that I got into the pre-order of the John Carpenter Halloween pinball machine?
Oh, what?
Which will be arriving at Pinpoint in Fayetteville, Arkansas, if you're in the listening area, whenever it's built. So probably November, which is hilariously stupid because it's just right after Halloween. But
it's gonna have sick Halloween music.
Yeah, they were only making like 1,000 of them. So it's got a topper that has a knife that like goes. Yeah, it's like ding 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 ding, and he like Michael Myers like comes out of the bushes and stuff. And it's pretty sick.
Yeah, he just like pops out. Yeah,
and it makes that noise that like that. It's just like that one little chord hit that. God, John Carpenter is so good.
I hope that there's like an animated screen and it has him hanging upside down where Laurie tries to grab him or all the stupid things.
Oh, it'd be amazing. But I'm excited about it. Let's see here.
I want to shout out to Sam real quick because he pointed out, dude, we're not fat losers. We're cultivating mass.
Cultivating mass, yeah.
Yeah, just like Mac. Look at Mac. He was Fat Mac and then he was Fit Mac.
He was Little Mac. Sketty Mac.
Yeah.
Vince calling me out here and showing my old radio days. He goes, the listening area is more of a radio thing than an internet expression. But hey, sorry. I mean, a decade in radio will do that to you. The area where we are here in Northwest Arkansas. I mean, what would we call that in our backyard? Like now that it's not a listening area, I guess you could be listening in Jupiter.
You know what? Now that we're talking local, and since Comic-Con was a thing spoken about here just a second ago, our Northwest Arkansas Comic-Con is coming up here pretty quick.
In September, right?
No, 2 weeks. It's like August 8th or something like that.
Is that the one where Bruce Campbell's going to be?
That's Little Rock, I think.
Oh,
there's one in Northwest Arkansas and there's one in Little Rock. The one in Northwest Arkansas, the person that I'm most excited to meet, and I wasn't initially planning on going, and then I thought about it, and I kind of want to go now, is Jason Marsden, man. The voice of Max Goof and Binks from Hocus Pocus.
Cool.
Yeah, and I can wear one of my Powerline shirts, and I'm going to have him sign my DVD copy of The Misadventures of Adam and Bert Return to the Batcave, where he plays a young Burt Ward. I guarantee I'll be the only person there doing that.
Probably so.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Which, if you've never seen that, it's a great biopic. It's a super good movie. It's framed with Adam West and Burt Ward having to track down a stolen Batmobile. Turns out it was taken by Fred Gorshin and Julie Newmar, and they got to get it back for charity.
Thanks for everything, Julie.
But on their misadventure to retrieve the Batmobile, they have fond memories of their days filming Batman, and it flashes back and it has young actors portraying young them, and old Burt Ward there, the boy wonder. So
spandex
phenomena. Instead of talking to him about
pal, zap,
Hocus Pocus or Boy Meets World, I'll be there being like, bruh, remember Batman though?
I bet there's gonna be one more dude, and you're gonna get mad at him.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be like 2 people ahead of you in line, and then you're gonna be like, oh, and then you're gonna be like, well, now what do I say?
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like scared, and you're just gonna leave.
I'll just have to talk to him about Boy Meets World instead, I guess.
Oof.
Hey, remember when you were one of the friends, like Eric's friends?
You immediately become Chris Farley from that skit.
You remember? You remember? That was awesome.
That was so cool.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
awesome.
I'll just ask him who would win between him and Will Friedle in a fist fight. Like, you're both voice actors. You're both from Boy Meets World. Who's better? And then a death match. Yeah.
Well, let's move this train forward because we got a lot of stuff to review tonight. Three new things. So let's tell you what's coming out in theaters this weekend, because that's the next thing that we usually do on this show. Because there are a couple of movies. One that I think Jake here just cannot contain his excitement about. He is just like jittering in his seat because it's got his favorite man crush in the world,
Jack Whitehall.
Okay, yeah. We've got the new Disney film trying to make another Pirates of the Caribbean style phenomena with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt leading Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, the new 3 or 4 year old movie.
Yes. So Jungle Cruise, of course, based off the ride that's never working at Disney World, and one of those things. It's like, okay, do we tear it down, or do we make a movie about it and try and get people interested in this ride again? And it looks almost identical to the pacing and style of Pirates of the Caribbean. Even to the CGI, like aquatic, pirate people that I guess they fight that look exactly the same as like the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean that all have like barnacle noses and stuff. Except for this one, they go, well, what are we gonna do? To make a lot of money, let's just add The Rock. And
then he drifts a paddle boat and launches it into the air and flies over buildings. And
somehow that paddle boat has more torque than, it's like Fast and the Furious, the Branson Bell edition. Paddle boats don't go very fast, guys. But anyway, Jungle Cruise coming out this weekend. Did you have more comments on Jungle Cruise?
I don't. It just looks so dumb, but
I know
probably
you're
have to
because you're
watch
probably not going to watch the movie that I want to watch because it looks kind of spooky. But it's from director David Lowery. David Lowery, of course, this is an A24 film. He's been doing a lot of stuff with A24. Actually met the guy in Little Rock at a screening for A Ghost Story, which is a movie he did in 2017. Really fantastic director. Really cool guy, actually. We had drinks at downtown in Little Rock together, and it's the new film of Dev Patel called The Green Knight.
You know what? The trailer that we saw yesterday, though, on Snake Eyes, took some of the spooky mystique out of it a little bit, and it looked a little bit more fun. It looked less creepy, more interesting. I don't know. It kind of
and you like King Arthur stuff.
I do like King Arthur.
This is
stuff.
Sir Gawain, so it's a story from King Arthur stuff. King Arthur, Arthurian.
Yeah, dude, Excalibur is a sick movie. I watch it all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah, hell yeah, bro.
It is a pretty sick
It has a
movie.
super badass Patrick Stewart, and it has a Liam Neeson being the only knight brave enough to tell King Arthur the truth, despite Arthur being a doucher.
Yeah,
and it has Merlin being super badass.
Merlin is the king badass.
And it has a really young Helen Mirren talking about Fast and Furious. There's old Shaw's mom. She plays Morgana Le Fay. Dude, it's a sick movie. And it has
Yeah, that is. It does have a good
song.
score.
Yeah.
So that one's coming out finally. I've been waiting for that one for a really long time. I am very excited to see it. So, and this is one of those movies, guys, that A24 specifically waited to have this in theaters. They believe in theatrical releases, and A24 has been a very scrappy distribution house and production house where they've managed to get art house style films kind of in the mainstream and getting people watching them. And it's so important that you check this movie out in a theater. Like, go see this one in a theater. Go put your pants on and check this one out. Because,
or lounge pants. Lounge pants are still pants.
Because it's movies like these that, without the pandemic and without like this kind of weird time that we're in with theaters, probably wouldn't get a wide release, probably wouldn't be in a lot of theaters. But we're in a very special time to show these companies that these movies can be economically viable and can find an audience in the theater, but we got to go out and see it. We can't just be like, I'll wait for Netflix, bleh, and just go out and check it out, and you'll probably enjoy it.
From that new trailer, it definitely does look like a theatrical movie. Like, it would be most fun to watch it.
Absolutely.
On a big screen with big sound in a dark theater.
The cool thing about David Lowery and why I'm excited about this film is, he comes from a very indie art house kind of background, but has also dabbled in big budget, Disney money, because he did Pete's Dragon. And
oh man, so I really wanted to hate the remake of Pete's Dragon because I love Pete's Dragon, but then I watched it. And I know I've talked about it on the show before.
You have, I remember.
Yeah, my mom and I watched it. It's a sad movie.
Yeah.
Sitting there, it's like, I'm not crying, you're crying, And it was actually pretty solid movie.
Well, David Lowery, I think, has the ability, an up-and-comer, if you will, where we're going to start seeing a lot. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of him if Green Knight does well. And what he can bridge that, kind of like Denis Villeneuve. He can bridge this world between kind of indie art house and big budget production, blockbuster style movie making, and find that cool middle ground to where like really good movies are getting made. And I'm very excited about Green Knight. So Dina says the Green Knight is hype enough that it can beat Jungle Cruise in gross, which wouldn't have happened pre-COVID. This is 100% true. I think it does have a chance. It's not gonna, but it has a chance. I mean, The Rock. We're talking The Rock. It's rated PG. Kids are gonna go see it. You're gonna get all the audiences to watch The Rock.
Yeah,
punch
well, and you have
stupid jungle people and that guy in the
Emily
sub
Blunt.
Going,
Everyone likes Emily Blunt too, and for some reason, her terrible Mary Poppins movie did very well, which I still don't understand.
It's a spoonful of something.
Yeah, doo-doo.
Indeed. Well, also Stillwater coming out on...
I kind of really want to see that movie.
Yeah, this is from director Tom McCarthy. It's got Matt Damon in it, Abigail Breslin. It's about a father traveling from Oklahoma to France to help his estranged daughter, who is in prison for murder that she claims she did not commit. And I don't know if this... I'm pretty sure this was filmed in Oklahoma. I think I had some friends that worked on this movie. And a lot of movies being filmed in Oklahoma right now. There's a Scorsese film that's being filmed in Oklahoma right now.
They filmed all of the scenes of Perry in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma. What was To the Wonder, I believe, was also filmed in Oklahoma, not very far from here. And that's, it's a weird movie. Not for everybody, but Terrence Malick, phenomenal American director there. One of the last amazing American directors out there. But anyway, that's what's coming out in theaters this week. As Vince said, Stillwater was supposed to come out a year ago, like everything else. I was still in the theater this weekend drinking out of a Top Gun June 2020 soda cup.
They ran the trailer on the movie too, and it still just says coming soon. There's no date on it, and you don't understand how much I need Maverick. I need that Top Gun.
You got the need for speed?
I do, man. I need that movie. It looks so sick.
Boom.
Yeah, bro. Every time it comes on, I'm just like, oh.
Did you ever play the Top Gun NES game?
Yeah, I'm just not good at it.
Well, no one was, because the refueling in mid-air part was freaking impossible. Like, there were so many... I don't know how anybody was able to, like, connect that shit. Like, it was... If you ran out of fuel, game's over, because you're never going to refuel in midair. It's the hardest thing in any video game ever, except for maybe like defeating Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson Punch Out, and then also defeating Jaws at the end of Jaws, where you like have to hit the thing and he goes woo, and you can stab him with the bowsprit of your boat.
Or making any real progress in E.T.
Oh, that was
the game.
NES game?
Yeah, that was the game that they filled a landfill.
No, that was
in the
Atari.
desert. Same thing.
E.T.
Yeah.
No, NES and Atari are way different, bro.
Yeah, well, video games, dude. You said video games.
And actually, I think there was a documentary about the E.T. or Atari cartridge, and they didn't find as many as they thought.
Yeah.
When they
Buried in the desert.
Buried in the desert. Yeah. Sam asks if I got my flatbread pizza. No, I didn't, because the stupid AMC's.
Is that why you walked into the theater late into the previews? Is because you were trying to get some pizza?
I can neither confirm nor deny these accusations. But, oh, we're sorry, sir. Our fryers and ovens and employees are all broken. And I was like, hey, you know, are you the manager on duty? He's like, it depends on what you're asking. And I was like, well, you know,
Yeah, you're gonna be upset, and then no.
yeah. And I'm like, man, you know, hey, just saying that your shit's broken and you should probably fix it. And he's like, well, AMC right now is not spending money on stuff. And I was like, no, I get that, but I also think you're probably not shaking the tree enough, because if AMC was as smart as, I don't know, a bag of rocks, you'd realize that if you've got people buying tickets into a theater that don't make you money, sell them the things that do. And
Who is AMC to be not spending money? They have like the best comeback story of all time right now, and they're like, oh, we won't spend any money.
Yeah, he's just, this is some dumb manager, and I'm sorry if you're watching this podcast and you're a big fan and I'm calling you dumb. Like, we appreciate the like and subscribe. But also, don't lie to me, dude. Like, I could tell when you just don't want to mess with it. It's like, just go in there and shut up and watch your movie, customer. And
Don't they know who we are?
They
act like they don't every time.
There was a person that used to work in the ticket booth that
there was one guy who used to work there, and he always knew who we were. And
and he'd be like, "What are you guys going to talk about this weekend?"
That's true.
Yeah, he was super cool, but he's not there anymore. I'm sad about it. But no, I didn't get my flatbreads. We'll see if they've got their bullshit fixed next week, which I doubt they will.
Sam's
I'm
starting a hashtag for you.
About to go back there myself and be like, "Let me do it," and just show them, like, "Do you guys even have a manual? Like, what? Give me a manual and watch me make my own fucking flatbread."
Where's your olive oil? And you make it like way too fancy,
dude. And then one day they tried to be like, "Oh, our hot dogs are not working." It's like, how do you just get it hot? It's a pre-cooked wiener. Like, just, you've got lots of things that make heat. Just stick it in there.
Yeah, stick it inside the popcorn. Let it get hot that way.
Oh my God.
I know. I just gave you the worst idea.
Hot dog popcorn.
Yeah.
Like, you dice it up into little bits and mix it in with the popcorn.
Or you
like
just
cheddar corn.
You just stick the dog in the popcorn. You let it absorb some of the butter and salt of the corn, and then you pull it out, and then you just eat it that way. Salty dog.
Dude, I like that's a different cocktail. Dina says, thanks. That's a good heads up, because honestly, I was gonna buy food to go with my 2 bottles of wine this time.
You know
the
what you could
bar's
do?
Not even open. Either.
You know what you could do? You could use the pre-order on the app, and then when you show up, if they don't have it, just rage, because you're like, dude, I pre-ordered. You knew I was coming.
Actually, I mean, yeah,
And they can't tell you no on the app.
Does ours pre-order?
Yeah, every time you buy a ticket.
I know it says, but usually when you follow through, they're like, your theater is stupid and doesn't do this.
I don't know. I've never actually tried it.
Because I remember, like, when, you know, we're getting so far off topic, but because it's talking about movie snacks. But, you know, I was so mad because they were advertised like caramel corn and pizza and mac and cheese bites, and we still didn't have our kitchen set up at our AMC. So it was like 6 months of like mouth-watering advertisements that we couldn't get. And I'm just like, stop showing me this. Like, I don't want to know what I can't have.
That's like the time that AMC, our local one, also had that gigantic standee of Bahubali. And I was like, give me the Bahubali.
Oh, and
they're like,
got so
we're
mad.
not getting that at this theater.
Then why do you have the stand
I was
up?
like, why do you have a 20-foot wide standee for Bahubali? I should have asked if I could have that.
You should have. They probably would have given it to you.
Yeah, it would have just been in my apartment. Every time someone walks in, I'd be like, hey.
And get scared. They're like, oh, who's this guy with a gun?
They just have there's no guns in Bahubali.
Or he didn't have a gun?
No, but there was a standee for Saho that I really wanted.
Saho was the one that had the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Little coming in on the comments. One of the OG original hosts of the Drive-In Speakerbox, the negative cutter himself, saying Malik's The Way of the Wind is going to be amazing. Malik's anything is going to be amazing, and I am also looking forward to that. I mean, we're never going to get it probably around here. But who knows? Who knows with the way that theaters are right now? It could be something we get to see. And Dina says that she takes her own wine. Remember the unhinged texting during F9? I do remember this. I do remember you being wine drunk and texting me. And
live tweeting, but texting you about how terrible F9 is.
Yes, that's exactly what was going on. So anyway, all right, well, let's review some movies. I will start with Old because Jake did not get to see Old, and I did. So we're gonna talk about this movie. And you know, a lot of reviews going out. A lot of people like it's getting mixed reviews, and you know, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna just start real quick and say I enjoyed this movie. All right, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why people didn't enjoy this movie. And, of course, if you don't know anything about this new movie, Old, everybody, it's not, M. Night Shyamalan did not write this. It's based off of a book by Frederick Peters called Sandcastle. It's a graphic novel. Not a huge, long read. I downloaded it and checked it out before or after I saw the movie. And it definitely needed some film adaptation help, which is what Shyamalan brought to the party, because this the graphic novel really is. It doesn't have a lot of narrative framing. It's more about exploring, you know, what happens when you age rapidly in a day in front of your, you know, friends or family members, and then you're watching your children grow up in front of your eyes, and then you're dying, and it's just really strange, and it's this character study in aging and progression of life, and you know, it doesn't wrap up in a pretty little bow, and it's very difficult, that story in the graphic novel form, to be a movie that anybody would ever want to sit in the theater and watch, because they'd be like, what did I just see? What the hell? Now I'm sad. But what Shyamalan did is he took what I guess he quote unquote knows best, and I don't know, I mean, that's left to be debated, of making it into some sort of kind of mystery thriller. And for people that are watching this movie waiting for the twist ending, or waiting for the reveal, or waiting to see why or how, you're watching this movie wrong. The movie is not about the ending. The movie is about the experience that these characters are having in this weird scenario, and to get you, the viewer, to understand why these things are happening. It has this narrative framework that says, oh, okay, now I got it. Now I understand why people were at this beach. Now I understand what's happening, and now I understand why it exists and nobody knows about it. Like, that's what Shyamalan did. He kind of framed it up in a way that made it an interesting narrative. And I'm not going to give you the spoiler. I'm not gonna do that to you on the show. But I'm going to say that I didn't think it was I thought it was okay. I thought it fit in that world. I thought it made a lot of sense in the terms of, it wasn't like, oh, they're at a nature reserve and somehow planes didn't fly over this park for the entire lives of these people, like The Village or some shit, or aliens just happen to be allergic to water, or why the fuck aliens would invade a planet that's like 67% water or 90% water, or whatever it is. You know, it's not like that. But you know, Shyamalan, and I cannot remember the name of his cinematographer, who needs an award for this movie. I mean, the cinematography in this movie, the choice of camera angles, pans and tilts, and just movement of the frame, it's so interesting to watch this. And then the subtleties of aging of these characters is really, really interesting, to where, you know, the cinematographer's using choices of camera positioning and, you know, over the shoulder shots of a character you think is a character, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, it kind of looks like him, but now there's this gradual older, and it eventually is now being played by another actor, because they have hit that threshold in the acting or of the aging process. And it was pretty interesting. I mean, some of the aging makeup was a little hokey, but you know, this cast I think did a fantastic job. Like, I think the problem that people have with M. Night Shyamalan is everyone's gotten so like prepared to hate him and prepared to like diss the twist or whatever, that
Diss the twist.
That there's such a hurdle of people just getting more enjoyment and pleasure out of making fun of it than to actually sit and give it a chance. And I guarantee you, if this was not a Shyamalan film, people would view it differently. But you've got, Gael Garcia Bernal is just, he's always great to watch. You got Rufus Sewell, who I really, really, really like. I mean, you go back to Dark City. I remember that was one of the first movies that I saw him, and I was like, this dude rules.
Or being the big-time butthole in Knight's Tale.
Yes, he is the big-time butthole in Knight's Tale, which is also pretty awesome.
But talking about King Arthur, he's the double sword cool boy in King Arthur.
He is. And who doesn't like a double sword cool boy? But Ken Leung, he's another guy that you don't see a whole lot in films lately, but he is always awesome. And he was in Lost, which was pretty fun seeing him back on another weird beach. But does a lot of TV, but I think he really definitely needs to be in the big screen a lot more. But then, of course, you've got, everybody else in this movie just doing a really, really good job of aging. And one of the things that I thought was really kind of fascinating with this movie, everybody wants to pick apart, like, oh, Shyamalan was in the movie. He's always in the movie. He's basically...
He's in every one of his movies. Actually, I watched the Wired autocomplete interview with him the other day, and they who was he in this movie? He goes, I don't even think I was in that movie. And they cut to a screenshot of him in a movie. He doesn't even remember that he's been in all of his movies because he plays the little bit things. It's kind of like Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson always puts himself
does it,
in his movies.
and so does Stephen King. Stephen King is always up in his own...
Well, but Stephen King's also the only one out of those that we just named who wrote himself as God in his own books. So,
well, that's what he does. That's what he does. The other Tamisa McKenzie and Alex Wolff, they're the ones that kind of steal the show because they're the ones that have aged the most. They started off at like ages 5 and 8 and become like, age 50 by the end of the movie. But it's so interesting to see these characters that are grown adults playing children that are having to deal with this scenario. And I thought that they did a really fun job of like, because kids are not like, they're not like goo goo gaga, let's play blocks. And it was believable in a way of like, oh my God, I'm, not necessarily like, Tom Hanks in Big or anything where he's trying to touch someone's flowers and, jump on the trampoline and have a Pepsi. They're free. But they really felt like young people trapped in these bodies, and I thought that was an impressive performance. And say what you will about twist endings, I think the ending is not important in this movie, and I think it's a really interesting. It's got some spooky parts, it's got some haunting parts, because if you're going into this to get scared or feel like there's a MacGuffin, you're going for the wrong reasons. Watch it because it's a really interesting idea, and it makes you think about the passage of time. It makes you think about the things that you miss in people's lives, and just how kind of precious moments are, not like the little ceramic dolls, but moments in time with people around you. And I thought it was good, man. I think that this is going to be a movie that ages pretty well, and people are going to go back and revisit it after they kind of wipe the Shyamalan off of it and just look at it for what it is. So anyway, what's going on in the comments here? Lots of Johnny Dalton.
Well, Johnny said that there was actually a animated Star Trek series episode that had a very similar plot, but then I think he came back and said it was the reverse of it, kind of like a Benjamin Button type thing, which, truth be told, animated series is the only Star Trek series made before Enterprise that I haven't watched all the way through. I found it difficult to get through a lot of animated series stuff, but one day I'll finish watching all of it. I have no desire to watch Discovery or Picard ever, or Lower Decks in any way, but I will watch animated series at some point in time.
Well, let me last thing on old, because we do need to move on. Vince was saying he saw a review that says a pretty good movie hinged on a bad twist. True. I'm going to disagree. I don't think the twist was bad. I think the fact that they even reviewed and talked about the twist, there was no twist. That's the thing.
It's a reveal.
It's
more than
it's a reveal. Yeah, it's a reveal and not a twist. And I think that goes into Shyamalan's legacy that unfortunately has been attached to him. Everybody thinks that there's this big twist, and that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for that moment that Sixth Sense gave us, where it's like, oh shit, he was dead the whole time, and now you got to rewatch this movie.
Why'd you do it?
In
that same interview I watched, they asked about it, and he was like, "Oh, well, the best way to do Sixth Sense is if no one's ever actually seen it, shut the hell up and let them watch it."
Let them watch it. And so with this movie, the movie's not about the twist. The movie sets up, or the reveal sets up kind of a exposition of all the questions that you've kind of had of like, well, why did this happen, or why blah blah blah, and you're like, oh, well, here's why, and it's like, oh. Okay, yeah, that checks out, and that's why I think that it worked. I mean, it did get a little bit happy at the end, where it kind of wrapped it all up, and I thought that maybe if they had left it a little bit more mysterious, or let the bad guys win, so to speak, I think that might have been a little bit stronger. But I think that for the most part, the reveal fit. I mean, because if you go back to the graphic novel in the original context or the original content, there is no way of structuring why any of these things are happening. But that's what the reveal did, is it gave it a motivation for being on screen. And whoever wrote, there's a lot of people writing these reviews, and they probably just need to watch more movies and read more books because they're fucking idiots. So there you go. I said it. I'm coming for you, Huffington Post and New York Times and Variety and all these other people that hire 22-year-olds that have never seen movies to write content every week because they don't have anything better to do. So there you go. All right. That's it for old. Moving on. Let's talk about, do we want to take a break with Masters of the Universe?
I want to do Masters of the Universe because I feel like G.I. Joe didn't have any substance, and we can really rush through it if we have to. We'll talk more about that.
Review.
We'll talk more about it in a minute. Dude, I want to talk about Master of the Universe because starting off, man, new Master of the Universe series.
Kevin Smith.
Produced, directed, whatever, Kevin Smith. But... and obviously casting done by Kevin Smith, as you can tell by Jason Mewes and Harley Quinn Smith having their roles in it. But check out this cast, bro. The voice cast for this show.
I immediately picked out Clancy Brown as Beastman. I was like, oh,
it's not Clancy Brown.
It's not Clancy Brown?
No, you're wrong about it. But when Tony Todd came on, I was like, is that Tony Todd?
No, it was totally Tony Todd.
And I looked it up. I'm like, it is.
Being the most appropriate Tony Todd character.
Dude, he was so good. Well, and the thing was, all of these actors.
How is that not Clancy Brown?
Because it is actually Kevin Michael Richardson.
Okay. I get those guys confused all the time.
Well, Kevin Michael Richardson he's in like 500 different TV shows, cartoons. You know his voice. You might not know his face, but you know his voice from
There was
something.
another show that he and Clancy Brown were both in.
Oh, the deepest of voices.
And I was just like, or no, was it?
All they had to do was get Michael Ironside there.
Wait, was he in Invincible?
Yeah,
because that was the show.
He's the twins.
He's the twins. Because Clancy Brown also does a voice in that, and I was just like, oh my god.
No, Kevin Michael Richardson is the twins that Invincible opens up with.
Yeah,
or the clone twins.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out this voice cast: Diedrich Bader, aka Batman, Sick, Lena Headey. Cersei, you know her. She was in Dread.
You know her.
She was Sarah Connor. You have Sarah Michelle Gellar, Mark Hamill as Skeletor, which this was the one role of Mark Hamill's where I was like, he's not really Skeletor.
He's the Joker.
But he is... he does it good. If Skeletor wasn't such an impersonable, like where you could be like, He-Man... Like
dude,
there was no
so
high
iconic.
pitch. There's no high pitch Skeletor, which sucked. It's Mark Hamill, and he kills it. It's a good voice for him. But it's not
Skeletor's attitude.
Yeah, it's still good. Liam Cunningham, a.k.a. Davos from friggin' Game of Thrones, which he was awesome. Justin Long does the voice of Roboto.
And I love
you wouldn't
Justin
even know
Long.
it was Justin Long, but he kills it. Griffin Newman, who's Arthur from The Tick. He does Orko. You have Kevin Michael Richardson. He was Beastman. You know him as the Martian Manhunter, or he was in Invincible. He's in The Simpsons, Family Guy. He's in all of it. Henry Rollins was in this. Stephen Root, a.k.a. Bill Dauterive from friggin' King of the Hill, or the Stapler guy from Office Space. You have...
I'm going to have to ask you to move those desks around.
Yeah. Dennis Haysbert. You know him as the Allstate guy.
It's just a huge.
Kevin Conroy shows up as Merman, and I was like,
Yeah.
sick. Jason Mewes, Phil Lamar, who you've heard his voice. He was in Mad TV. He plays the Green
I
Lantern.
mean, it was a veritable like
Tony Todd,
all-star
Alicia Silverstone,
list.
Susan Eisenberg, who's Wonder Woman in all of the animated DC everything. Yeah, I mean, the cast on this was incredible.
Incredible.
And it works. All of the voices are so good in this.
But
Don't expect to see fucking He-Man in this He-Man cartoon.
don't expect to see anything that you thought you'd watch.
If you
in
love
the-
He-Man and Skeletor and Battle Cat,
and Eternia and
Yeah.
Orko.
turns out you're getting a low-rate She-Ra show where she never turns into fucking She-Ra. But it's still good.
I mean, okay, and so that's where I was hoping, because I was waiting for you to say it, because a lot of reviews from two white guys in black T-shirts like us are going, He-Man with no He-Man, oh God, it's just a girls' show, and it's like, yes, and I understand that, but I also understand that Teela is literally in every freaking He-Man mini comic. She is I was a huge Masters of the Universe kid. I had all of those figures. I still do.
I grew up playing with a Castle of Grayskull and Triclops and the Bumblebee guy.
Here's the thing, is that, a lot of people are angry that it's the Teela show. I am too. I get you. I feel you.
Me too.
Because I thought her getting the angsty side shave, haircut,
Jesus, yeah.
and then teaming up with Evelyn, and then which seemed like an unnecessary crossover.
No, but it gave us more Lena Headey, and she killed it.
I thought was cool. By the end of it, I was really I was on board with it. But the problem is they lean so far into kind of this Teela storyline, and I get it. It's they're doing the strong female storyline. They're doing the gender swap. But here's what I don't mind is it's only 5 episodes in. I feel like this is going to end strongly.
I thought it was 6. I thought they released 6.
It's not
6.
many.
There's
There's
supposed
another
to be
half.
10, and they only released the 6.
Because it nails the jokes, it nails the same humor from the comics and the show.
There's really dumb one-liners
and
that's going to
that's-
make you roll your eyes and hate
it's
it.
straight up He-Man, though. It is straight up He-Man.
Yeah, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I can do that. I have the power." And
Yeah.
Get out of here with that.
It's so dumb.
But it is the girl power show, no doubt. But there's only one moment of that end game where it's like, look at all the women on screen, huh? How about that? It doesn't make any sense. There's only one moment of that in all 6 of the episodes. The rest of it at least works story-wise.
It works. And Man-at-Arms is the biggest badass on the planet.
They
he
made
needs
Man
to
of
be.
Arms so sick. It was awesome. And Evil Lynn is so good.
Evil Lynn is super,
It's really
super
the Evil
cool.
Lynn show after she gets involved
in that
it.
moment with her and Orko, which Orko at the beginning I was like, ugh, but then he has his moment and he comes through.
Everyone gets their
Everybody gets their moment, and I think that
except for the new turd character that Teela hangs out with the
Oh,
whole time.
yeah, she's
an engineer, so she has wrist guns.
completely we need
and
more
throwing stars.
We need more female diversity. Here she is.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest complaint is that they highlight the sort of who's who reel of the bad guys, because the bad guys don't need a whole lot of exposition to be on screen, but there's almost none of the good guys. It's Man-at-Arms, Roboto, Orko, Teela. That's it. And you don't get any of the huge list of amazing characters, because that was one of the things that made Masters of the Universe so neat is the character designs were just bananas. They were like, think of it and we'll do it. And they've still got the whole the Horde, Hardak or whatever, Dorak or Mordak or whatever his name is from the Horde. There's that whole thing. There's so much stuff that they could explore. But I'm waiting. I'm like, I'm not going to get mad at it. I'm not going to hate on it until I see the rest of it. Because everybody's like, I can't even believe they killed He-Man in the first episode. And it's like, well, you're not going to kill He-Man. You can't kill He-Man.
Well, they did kill He-Man.
No, but he'll be back just like they
sure,
always do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a spoiler because it happens right away. Yeah, I mean, the bad guys definitely get the focus because you have all of the bad guys. You even have Stinkor.
Stinkor comes out.
That's
who
Jason
Mossman did come out.
That's who Jason Mewes does the voice of. But I don't know, man. I
I
had mixed...
am sad that they didn't have the dun 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 dun. Like,
Yeah,
is the
the
He-Man-
music wasn't there, and it didn't really have like a solid "I have the power" like real moment. You got one
He-Man
at the early portion of it.
I mean, that like dun 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 is sick.
You're talking, dude.
But they didn't
listen,
have it. They
I
didn't even have
get
it once.
So fucking hyped on Thundercats, you don't even know. So things like He-Man and Thundercats and stuff like that has that. I'm about that. I feel you on this, and they don't give it to you.
They
at all.
don't give you that,
don't
like,
get any
or
of that.
even tastes of it. I mean, you know, I was online, like, and after I watched the show, I was like, man, I need to hear the original theme song. And there's like orchestral versions of it that are like epic and amazing.
Well,
and
you know, there's like the He-Man song where it's like, I have the power. It's like bum 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 bum
Yeah.
bum bum bum. None of
It's-
that.
none
don't
of that.
get it. You
None
don't
of
get to
that.
have like the epic like, get swole, chop things in half. You don't get to have any of
but
that.
we'll see. I mean, they left it on a cliffhanger. I think we're gonna get
That's
more.
true.
Because
when it ended, I was like, no,
yeah.
I need more of it right now.
So and I don't know. We'll see. You know, I'm saving judgment. I don't think that it's as bad as everybody online is bashing it, because I think just people are just mad about, you know, Tila, no He-Man with no He-Man, and
Yeah.
then Tila. It's like the first two episodes, I was kind of like getting mad, but then it stuck the landing, and I was like, okay.
Well, and
Kevin
every
Smith.
time someone's voice showed up, I was like, I was the Leo meme,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And when they were in like when you got to see all the action figure guys, like all like the dudes drawn like the action figures and stuff, I was like,
and all the vehicles done almost identical to the vehicles.
yeah, like the shark tanks and stuff. I mean, there were parts of it that were pretty slick, and then there were parts of it where it was like womp womp.
Yeah.
You know,
You can tell
but-
that Kevin Smith's not really a fan, though, because he.
No, it's a thing for nerds, and he has the name of Kevin Smith, and it's going to
Yeah.
make him money. And he got to put his friends and family in there.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when Tony Todd showed up, I was like, oh,
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been a more perfect. And I don't want to spoil it, but it could have been. There was no more perfect role for him.
Well, and the thing about these characters is like any of the roles that they've kind of played, their voice works for it, except for Kevin Conroy. He just showed up, and I was like, what? That's Kevin Conroy? Out of nowhere. But everyone else, it's like, it's kind of like the characters that they're known for. So their voice fits that.
It's
Character archetype type thing where you
pretty
see
good.
that person, you're like Evil Lynn, Lena Headey. Oh, she was Evil Queen, and
Totally
she's,
makes sense.
She's a slow-mo chick. Yeah, that works. You know, so when the characters are doing their voices, you associate them with that type of character, and it just completely works for everything. You know, and there's other characters like Bill Dotrieve's voice actor doing the voice of Cringer. You would have never known that was him.
He did a good job.
Yeah, or Justin Long being Roboto. You know, things like that. But it's fun.
We'll
but
see.
You'll roll your eyes a couple
There's
of times.
plenty of eye rolling to be had. But anyway, it's on Netflix. I don't know when the second half of it's going to be released, but it's going to come because they're working
Do it
on it.
now. I need it.
So anyway, well, we don't have a whole hell of a lot of time, but we've got to still talk about G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes. It was the first thing on the list of things that we were going to talk about. But this movie, Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins, supposed to be an origin story about Snake Eyes, and you absolutely learn nothing about Snake Eyes.
No, not a damn thing.
yeah.
Except that he's a dick.
Yeah,
He's
he's
just-
a bad guy.
He's just a turd inside of a human suit.
Yeah, he is really the enemy in this movie, and somehow at the end, everyone's like, "Oh, okay, cool, buddy. You want to be a Joe?" And you're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And you don't even get to learn why he doesn't talk at all.
Not to spoil the dumbass movie, but you don't get to learn a single cool thing about Snake Eyes.
How he became a ninja, how he knows how to fight all the
You're
stuff.
supposed to learn how he became a ninja, but 1 second he's just a dude that punches people, and the next second he's jumping on cars on the highway, riding motorcycles backwards,
being a
and
master of
throwing
stealth
swords.
and
Yeah,
swords.
he's just the he out sneaks every ninja that's been a ninja for
Since
400
birth,
years.
yeah.
They're like, we've been ninjas for 400 years. No one can out ninja
and then
us
some
ninjas.
dude just like
And-
found him in an MMA ring getting his ass beat, and then all of a sudden he's a ninja. Like,
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you have 3 days to become a ninja. And he's like, sick. And then he's the best one.
Yeah. Well, and then, one of our friends that saw it with us, he was like, it should have just been called Storm Shadow because you learn so much about Storm Shadow.
And it turns out that Storm Shadow is friggin' cool.
Storm Shadow's the good guy.
And he's a victim.
Yeah, he is a total victim. Storm Shadow's the OG. He's the one that got his life screwed up way more than everyone's.
He was a
Snake goes
hero.
like, oh,
He
my
was
dad
doing
got
the
hurt.
right thing.
Yeah.
He was a
Living
friend
for
of all the
honor.
good guys, fighting against all the bad guys.
Trying to defend the world from Cobra.
Yeah, and then Snake Eyes shows up in his life, betrays him,
Ruins it.
and just ruins his entire life in front of him, and just straight faces him the whole time. He's like, "No, dog, we're homies. I love you, bro." And Storm Shadow's like, "Sick, dog. Thanks.
I entrust my
Thanks,
entire
bro,
clan
Chacho.
to you, buddy.
Yeah, here's everything.
I don't have a brother. Be mine.
Yeah, we'll put you through these tests, and you can't lie about it, and we'll trust you, and I'll give you everything. Here's millions of dollars and the best training in the world, and a sick samurai sword that can cut through anything." And he's like, "Dope. Also, by the way, fuck you."
Yeah.
And Storm
I'm
Shadow's
gonna
like, "Are you kidding, bro?"
Yeah, I'm gonna betray you, steal your family power, murder half your clan, set your estate on fire, and I'm still the good guy. Like, dude, it was so bananas. And so positive things on this movie is I love whoever created this movie was clearly a fan of Takeshi Miike or Akira Kurosawa style, just hilarious Yakuza battles where they just come out running with swords and it's the funniest thing ever. And then there were some good fight scenes. There were I mean good Yakuza, I love Yakuza stuff. And
If they weren't aiming for family friendly, if this would have been like a R-rated Deadpool movie or something,
dude, yeah,
it could have been had some solid Yakuza movie scenes.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of good. If there was some,
All it was missing was
some Takeshi Miike aortal squirt. Would have been great. I think somebody in the comments was mentioning Ninja Assassin, better or worse than Ninja Assassin, and kind of similar, honestly.
Yeah, worse as far as watchability goes. Better as far as being able to follow the story somewhat.
And there was also no red or blue lasers, no pew 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 pews. But it was just all over the place. And the biggest problem is when you make a movie about an origin story of a character. Oh, and Scarlett was awful. She could have been cut out of that movie completely.
No point in having her there
was
except for
so
the
bad.
end scene of being like, "You ever thought about being a Joe?"
It was so bad. Could have erased her from the movie completely.
Yo, Joe.
Oh, that was so dumb. That was so
She
dumb.
was there for that so that Snake Eyes could have the sick line of they stand shoulder to shoulder. He goes, "Yo, Joe." And I was like, "Get that out of here."
It was so dumb.
We just talked about Master of the Universe having real stupid one-liners make you roll your eyes. At least it does fit. This one, everything was like, what if we had him say this?
If
the
they had
audience are really
erased
grown about that.
Everything about G.I. Joe out of this movie and made it a story about these two people that that run a samurai or a ninja guild or whatever family. It actually has the Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes storyline has potential there if you just wash away all this other bull crap.
That's true. They could have made it a whole light and dark, black and white, yin yang. They could have made it some sort of really cool balancing act, good and evil, intermixed.
How everybody's capable of good and everybody's
there's a
capable
little bit of
bad.
evil in the
Yeah.
good guy, and there's a little bit of good in the bad guy, and whatever else. They could have made a good movie. That's a good point.
But they screwed it.
They screwed it up by being like, well, it's about Snake Eyes, and you won't learn a damn thing about him except how he gets his suit, which didn't make any sense as far as
They just gave him one. They're like, "Here, hope this helps." And he's like, "Oh, perfect, my Snake Eyes suit."
Yeah, the suit that we had under lock and key that no one else decided to use. I'll just give it to you, and you can use it and be the most BA ninja boy of all time. There's not a way to spoil this movie, y'all. It's dumb as hell.
Johnny Dalton asks, and how is Sergeant Slaughter not in any of these movies? Because he honestly should have been.
Sergeant Slaughter should have showed up in this movie, and that would have been sick.
I mean, it just, I don't know. It made me so mad, mainly because I felt like the story could
We
have
were
had
robbed.
potential. We were robbed of something that could have had potential.
Yeah.
And I want to watch more Storm Shadow. That's what I want to see. Storm Shadow is
His descent into
awesome.
being a bad guy.
getting like totally screwed over.
Because in this movie, until the last 5 seconds, he's the good guy.
Yeah, until
is
literally
the good guy.
The last scene. Then he's like, "Well, I'm so mad at Snake Eyes, I'm gonna be bad."
Yeah. That's the whole thing. His grandma told him he was a turd. He's like, "Screw it, I'm evil now."
I spent my whole life for this. Ah! And then and it's all Snake Eyes' fault. And everybody's like, "It's all good."
Why
It's
didn't
all
he just
good."
straight up gank Snake Eyes like right there?
Right there.
Instead, he's like, "Oh, I tell you what, next time I see you, it's over for you, doggy." And Snake
Next
Eyes,
time I see him with Cobra now.
yeah, and Snake Eyes was like, "I'm gonna go after him, even though he told me he's gonna kill me." And everyone's like, "You sure that's a smart idea?" And he goes, "Won't know till we do it."
Man.
Stupid.
Anyway, G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, Origins.
If it would've
Vince
just-
says his Origins going to be a continuing series. I think that they wanted to experiment with it, but the way that the box office right now, which I mean, we'll touch into the box office really quick now that we're talking about it. Snake Eyes only opened up to 13.3 million, and its opening weekend, which is very very weak. Old coming out with 16.8 million pull for this weekend. Not very good. I mean, Black Widow still bringing in 11.6. So Snake, and its third week. I think they were hoping Snake Eyes would be a bigger draw, but it just is not getting people in theaters like they thought it was. And when a movie of that caliber, with a franchise that is technically a blockbuster, doesn't pull in money, they'll scrap that thing so fast.
Yeah, but they should have known that from G.I. Joe Revelations or whatever the hell it was. Redemption, who knows? That movie made no money. Everyone hated it. And they killed off Channing Tatum in like the first 5 seconds, and everyone's like, "Oh, there goes everyone's favorite G.I. Joe. You just gonna kill him off? Well, screw this." Not even Rock and Bruce Willis saved that movie.
Nope. But yeah, as Vince was talking about Space Jam 2 fell to the number 4 spot, but was in its second week, but it was beating Black Widow, but it pulled in 9.5 million in this last weekend. So as Johnny mentions, Wolverine Origins and Solo, the Solo story. So I don't know. I don't think we're gonna see any more origin stories from G.I. Joe, honestly, because there's no other really cool characters that have any mystery about them that anybody really ever wants to know about. I mean, Snake Eyes, everybody has always wanted to know, like, why Snake Eyes doesn't talk.
Right.
Why he's such a badass and why he's so mysterious. And I mean, what a good opportunity. Well, let's tell him without telling him.
No, all they did, they're like, "Oh, he's just a really good-looking, charismatic asshole," and you get nothing. And it's like, "Oh, okay, so Snake Eyes sucks." And they're like, "Yeah, that guy that you always thought was cool because he was the ninja on G.I. Joe."
The only
out
thing
he
you find
sucks.
out about him, is why his name is Snake Eyes. That is it.
And it's not even a good reason.
No,
It's
a
the
stupid
dumbest
reason.
reason.
Some dice rolling bullcrap. Anyway, G.I. Joe in theaters. What you got? What you got more?
Nah, I got like the one spoiler that's not a spoiler because you find out in the first 5 seconds on your own, and then the movie tells you 2 hours later. Loaded dice. It's fucking stupid.
Oh, it's all loaded dice. The whole movie was loaded dice. What are you talking about? But anyway, G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes Origins in theaters right now, Old in theaters right now, and Masters of the Universe, He-Man, Revelation in Netflix right now. That's our show. Next week, definitely going to be talking about Green Knight. We're going to be, you might go see Jungle Cruise, maybe?
I actually might, maybe, just because it looks dumb, and I guess it seems like we have the most fun when we talk about really stupid movies.
I mean, everybody likes those, or likes us when we get mad at stuff. It's the whole Shyamalan thing I'm telling you about. It's more fun to hate stuff, and it's a problem. It's a problem. But anyway,
We wanted to like it.
we did. We really, really did. But I do definitely want to just go watch some more, old school Tokyo, like Yakuza movies.
Takeshi Miike and
yeah.
Takeshi Kitano.
Oh God. Oh yeah. Just go watch some old Takeshi Kitano movies. Anyway, all right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us over on the Facebooks, the Twitches, and the YouTubes. We do this every week, every Monday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, just like it says on the bottom of the screen. But if you're listening to the audio version of this on your Spotify or TuneIn or wherever you get your podcasts, sometimes you should check us out on the live stream.
Yeah. Oh, and set your notifications on for Twitch, YouTube.
Yeah.
We're going to try and do some more streaming stuff soon, maybe.
Yeah, but that's mostly on Twitch. Like, nobody wants to like watch us play Sea of Thieves on YouTube and Facebook.
Or
I guess,
maybe
but
we'll spread it out, see
yeah,
what
who
other
knows?
games we can play or something.
Who knows? But anyway, I'm Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm Jake the Grip.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Adios.
See ya.